parents, happy Tuesday. Today is the first day of our homework videos. I want to say welcome back to parents. Welcome to my new parents, because I have new parents this year. Welcome, and welcome to my students as well. These are our homework videos that I prepare to go through the homework, just so that in case you get stuck, you can always refer to the videos to give you some help. And also for my parents who just want to see what we're working on in class, that is the purpose of these homework videos. So today is the first homework video for lesson 1, session 1. And today we worked on rounding. Basically, we didn't do the full all in depth of rounding, like 5 or more, round up, 4 less, round down, or stay the same, however way you want to say that. What we did more so was just basically trying to figure out between which two tens, if we're rounding to the nearest 10, or between what two hundreds. That's what they were focusing on today, trying to figure out the two tens or the 200s. Tomorrow, we'll be getting into more looking at the number behind, if it's 5 or more or 4 or less. Today was a little more simpler. Tomorrow, we'll be getting into more of that. So let's go ahead and get started. This was homework number 1. We did it in class. It's the vocabulary. Anytime there's vocabulary, I do it with them in class because I want them to get a great understanding of what the vocabulary means. So number 1 should be completed for all my students already. We're now going to go into number 2. So number 2 says, round 451 to the nearest 100. Explain your answer. Okay, so this is our number, 451, and they want us to round it to the nearest 100. Okay, no problem. The way I explain it to my kids in class is that we take our number, 451, and we look for the number that is in the hundreds place, since they asked us to round to the nearest 100. So the number that is in the hundreds place is going to be this 4. So when you are rounding to the nearest, or trying to figure out which number it falls between, or rounding to the nearest 100, I today went through a number line with the kids. I felt like they got it better looking at the number line. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the number line. Okay, so we have our starting number and we have our ending number. Now, because we're rounding to the nearest 100, we're going to start, our number line is going to be counting by hundreds. So, because there's a 4 in the hundreds place, we are going to round, or not round, our starting number is going to start with 400. You always start with the number you have in the hundreds. There's 4 in the hundreds place, so start with 400s. That's our starting number. Your ending number is going to be 100 more. So if I add 1 to the hundreds place, or 100 more, I'm going to end with 500. Okay, so now all we have to do is place this number on the number line where it goes. So in class, I asked my kids, what number you think would be between 400 and 500? And they would tell me 450. So that's our halfway number, our number that is in the middle. So this is, I'm just going to put this on here, 450. Well, if you look at this number is 451. So that tells me this number is going to be a little bit past 450. So if I put that number on my number line, it's going to be about here, 451. I'm going to put a point there. So then I asked my kids, since we put our number on the number line, 451, we know it's between 400 and 500. Is it going to be closer to 400, or is it going to be closer to 500? And they'll say it's closer to 500 because it's past our middle, or our halfway. So that means I'm going to round up. My arrow's going to go up to the larger number, and I'm circling 500. So that is how we're going to figure out what 451 rounded to the nearest 100 is. So it says to explain our answer. So let's go ahead and explain our answer. We would say 451 rounded to the nearest 100 is 500 because it's closer to 500. And that would be it. So if you need some time to write this down or check your work, you can go ahead and pause the video. I'm gonna keep moving. Okay. So this is the issue I was having before. I'm so sorry, everybody. They came and worked on my board today, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to get my pen back. Just do it this way. For some reason, it pops up. All right, here we go. So I got it back up. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so number 3 says, solve the problem, show your work. Look at the number 253 in the place value chart. Between which two tens does it fall? Between which two hundreds does it fall? So first thing I want to do is look at my important number that I'm working with. I'm going to circle that number. My important number is 253. That's the number I'm working with. Then I want to underline the question that they asked me to answer. Well, for this one, they asked 2 questions. So we have 2 questions to underline. The first one is between which two tens does it fall? And the second question is between which two hundreds does it fall? Okay, so let's start with the first question. Between which two tens does it fall? So we're looking in the tens place. This is the tens place on our place value chart. They have already placed our number on our place value chart. The 2 is in the hundreds place, the 5 is in the tens, 3 is in the ones. So the number we're working with is this 5. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a number line. Okay, and I'm going to do my starting number and my ending number. Now, because we are working with the tens, that number is a 5. That is going to be our starting number, 250. Everything behind it will turn to zeros. So my starting number, I'm going to keep the 2, keep the 5, but the place that I'm working behind will turn to 0. So my starting point is 250. My ending point, or the number I'll be ending my number line with, is going to be 110 more. So I'm going to add 110 to this number, and that's going to give me 260. Okay, so the numbers that my 2 tens will fall between is going to be, or my number's going to fall between is 250, 260. So now I'm going to place this number on the number line. In class, when it's the tens, I did go in and number up until I get my number, because the numbers are not going to be very many, or it's not going to be a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this will be 251, 252, 253. So it's not that many numbers, so I just go ahead and number when it comes to the tens, because it's not a lot. So this is going to be my point. This is my number, 253. So they want to know, well, between which two tens does it fall between? Well, it falls between 250 and 260. So you're going to put 253 falls between 250 and 260. Okay, so that's our first part. The second question asks between which two hundreds. So now we're looking at a totally different number, a totally different place value. So this is the hundreds place right here. Let me get a different color. This is the hundreds place right here. And in the hundreds place, we have a 2. So let's go ahead and do a number line for the hundreds. Okay, we have our starting number and our ending number. So because my 2 is my number that I have in the hundreds, you always start with that number. So I have 2 in the hundreds place, so my starting number is 200. Okay, my ending number is always going to be 100 more. If it's the tens, 1/10 more. And it goes like that for either thousands, it just keeps going. You always want to go one place value more than what we are writing. So this is 200, so I'm going to add 100, and it's going to end me at 300. So now I'm going to put this number on my number line. You can look for your halfway number or your middle number. Some kids say middle, some kids say halfway. Either way, it's the same number. So I asked my kids, what number is between 200 and 300? They'll say 250. So I'm going to put that number in the middle, 250. Now I'm going to look at my number. I can see that this number is going to be past 250 because it's 253. Now, because it's so close to 250, if you want a number, you can do that. This will be 251, 252, 253. So 253 is going to be here. Okay. So now we know that our number does fall between 200 and 300. So the question asks between which 200 does it fall? Well, 253 falls between 200 and 300. Okay, so that would be the answers for number 3. This is the first question with the 2 tens, and I can label this number line for tens. This is the tens, and this would be for the hundreds. The second question asks about the hundreds. So you'll know the difference between the two. Okay, so number 4 is just basically asking us, let's go to number 4. Let me erase this. Okay, number 4 asks us to go ahead and check your answer, show your work. So there are different ways you can check your answer. One strategy that I did in class is just to go ahead and count by. So for the number they gave us was 253. And if I'm doing the tens, I'm going to count by tens, starting with 200. And I start with 200 because I have 200 here, and I count by tens. 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300. Then I asked the kids, well, what 200s does it fall between? So if I look at my first two numbers, you go down to find these first two numbers, they're here. So automatically I would know that if I'm at 250 and I count by ones, 251, 252, 253, that number's gonna be somewhere in between here. So that means it's gonna be between 250 and 260, in between those two numbers. Now, for the hundreds, I did the same thing, but I counted by hundreds, and I started with 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Okay, and then for that number, because I have a, let me erase. Okay, I'll just rewrite it. For that number, because it's the hundreds, I have a 2 here, so I look where my 2 is, and I know that this number is gonna come after that 200, so it's gonna be in between here at 253, so the 200s is 200 and 300. So that's the same answer we got for number 3. So that is one way you can check your work, but if you have another way you would like to check your work, you are more than welcome to use any way you like. That is it for today's homework. If you have any questions, please send me a response in PBIS or drop it in our parent Google Classroom, or you can even put it on the YouTube in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and respond to you as quickly as possible. But that is it for today. I will see you on tomorrow for session 2 homework. Bye.